everyone. This is Pamela Topchian. I am the host of Holistic Connections, Conversations with Holistic Practitioners. And we are recording in May, but this episode is going to be part of my spotlight on the LGBTQ community for Pride Month, who are also holistic practitioners. So I will let my guest introduce yourself and share what you do in the holistic healing world.
I'm Katie Shell, and I am an evolutionary astrologer and medicinal intuitive aromatherapist. I also do a lot of work with embodied movement. And all of that to me is about giving people permission to be themselves and all
Oh,
of
I love that.
the different, oh, thank you.
Yeah, giving people permission to be themselves. I love that. Absolutely.
Yeah, because really we struggle. So many people struggle so much with that because we're programmed, whether, whether through society, whether through our family, even we can have, and I tell my clients this all the time, like we can have amazing relationships with our family, but there's still voices in our head from them, conditioning that tells us something other than what is right for us. Like as an
Yeah.
astrologer, there's certain parts of our chart that literally say like there's the Chiron and which is I don't want to get too technical here, but which but when we look at something like a Chiron, it has to do with the thing that makes us unique, and it
Mhm.
always goes back to our relationship with our mother and some energy that we were putting on that was rejected. And it
Mm,
wasn't that our parents were, I mean, sometimes I will get into some really horrific and sad
yeah.
and difficult stories, but I also see people who like their mom bought them their reading. And I'm like,
Oh, nice. Yeah.
or I actually do a lot of like parent-child readings, which I love
Oh,
doing.
yeah.
And I'll say like, okay, everybody has a Chiron, and there's always these different parts of our chart where there's something our family couldn't teach us or rejected or whatever it
Mm-hmm.
is that we need to discover about ourselves. And so so it's unconditioning all of these kind of limiting beliefs and getting into, and like I said, getting into the body and all of that stuff
Mm-hmm.
is so important for me because
Yeah.
like
There's such
society
a
tells
connection. Yeah, the mind-body connection is so powerful. Yeah. I mean, this is
it,
holistic connections, and the mind, body,
right.
soul, it all works together for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. And we're taught like, that there's certain ways to have a body and there's
Mm-hmm.
certain ways to, I work with a lot of feminine energy, but
Mm-hmm.
the feminine energy isn't a gender thing. And
Right.
I think a lot of spaces that do work with the divine feminine are geared towards, cis white women.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
Yeah.
can't do that. Like that's not what I'm here to do. I'm here to, bring in this energy of fluidity and nurturing and nourishing and that is feminine principle is
Yeah.
the holistic aspect. And again, that it has nothing to do with gender, but it's about like being whole and we are
Yeah.
all of the things.
So you say do when I'm doing a reading. So what
Mhm.
is involved in doing a reading? Looking on your website, there's a few different things that are offered. So when a client comes to you, are they seeking a specific modality that you do that they found on your website, or are they seeking just help? Like I need help with this, and then you kind of decide or you work with them. And yeah, how does that work when someone reaches out to you?
So oftentimes, and it's funny, a lot of times, I'll get somebody who's got a question or something, and I'm like, there's nothing I can't provide guidance to. Like, there's
Yeah.
no question that's off limits. And the menu items on my website are really just a starting off point to
Okay.
kind of
Okay.
give you an idea. Like, I
Right.
charge the same thing whether you're doing a soul's journey, which is about, over many lifetimes, the patterns, or
Mm.
you're asked, or somebody's coming in asking for a question. But usually people are in some sort of crisis.
Looking for something that they're either on a self-discovery journey,
Yes,
spiritual journey,
yes,
healing journey. They're
yes.
reaching out to you because they're needing something.
And I'll get such strange, I mean, not strange, but I'll get things like I'm going to a birthday party and should I go? Like, are people are gonna be mad at me at the birthday party? And I'll look at the question and I'll go, I can't answer that question. Like, I don't do that. And then I'll be like, okay, let's see what comes up. And then something will come, and then I'll do the reading and things will come up and it will be about them getting, even though it was framed in this, like, what's going to happen to me at my
Mm-hmm.
birthday party? Um, it comes out where it's like, this is a thing that you've been struggling with lately. And
Yeah,
so have more confidence,
right.
have more yeah, maybe Mars is somewhere where anger issues could come up. So see what that's telling you. Like,
Yeah.
and it's the context. And for me, a lot of it when I'm doing the readings is providing context for
Mm-hmm.
what people are going through.
Yeah.
Because like a reading is not a like doesn't define you. Like your astrology
Right.
chart doesn't define you. It's not like, be like, oh, I am a Virgo. I'm a Virgo, so I can criticize you all I want because
Right.
that's my nature. That's not what it means. It
Yeah.
means that I have an eye for detail and I have to notice things and I have to be aware of, and I should be aware of that and how that can affect other people.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's not like an excuse, which you see a lot in kind of pop astrology, but it's providing the context to, oh, this is why these things bother me so much, and
Yeah.
how do I work through that? So whatever questions people come to me, I always tell them, I'm like, you're going to ask a question and then your guides, and that question is going to give your guides information about where you are right now because it's all
Yeah.
energy and it's all presenting itself in the context of how you're living right now. So I can look at a chart and the energy in it can present itself in a million different ways.
Mm.
But what happens then is you ask the question, your guides kind of go, yeah, they're saying thing A, and they say, and I look at like, maybe they're asking a question about finances, and I look at the house of finance, and I look at or I look at Venus, which is also about finances, and there's nothing really going on there.
Mm.
But then I see something, but their guides are saying, look at this, look at this, look at this,
Yeah.
and then it turns into the conversation that they really need to have.
Yeah.
So,
Like opening a door to what the guidance that they really need. They may think that this is the issue, but really, when you do the reading, then you might find deeper issues that they need to work on.
right,
Yeah,
exactly. And it's not that I would ever tell somebody what to think or feel. Although that's
sure.
another one of those things where it's like, I don't tell people what to do. And then all of a sudden I find myself
And then you
telling some,
you
but it's
try not
usually,
to tell people what to do. Yeah, I understand. It can be hard
but,
sometimes when it's crystal clear to you, but there seem to be in a fog. Yeah.
well, it's actually usually it's clear to them. Like
Okay.
they just needed permission. They needed
Oh,
the context and
yeah.
they needed to permission. I needed to know that like these are this is what's happening and this is why it's happening. Like,
Mm-hmm.
and they're like, so should I do this thing? And I'm like, well, these are the circumstances, and it
Yeah,
sounds like you are
right.
saying, like, and there's no wrong way to be. And that's another thing I tell people a lot, like, you can't do anything wrong. You can
Mm-hmm.
make mistakes and learn from them.
Right, right.
And from a soul's perspective, it's the same thing.
Yeah,
Like, everything is an alert is a learning experience for the soul.
absolutely. So you had
Yeah.
mentioned Cryon. Is it
Chiron. Yes,
Chiron?
Chiron.
I always
Yes.
say that wrong. So
That's
for
okay.
people who might not know what that is, can you explain that a little bit?
Okay. So Chiron is a dwarf planet or a comet, essentially. We look at it as a planet. And so whenever we're looking at astrology, we're looking at archetypes. So we kind of look at the story of Chiron. And Chiron is a centaur that
Okay.
was born of a goddess, and then they went, oh, this weird thing needs to go live with the other centaurs because they don't fit in here. But then they didn't really fit in with the centaurs either.
Hmm.
And so it's like this thing that they're so different that they don't really fit in anywhere. So we look at that, and a lot of times you'll see a lot of work with Chiron. And
Mm-hmm.
it's a newer thing, 20, 30 years. It doesn't have like thousands of years
Yeah.
like a lot of the other planets. And I want to just kind of put a shout out to my mentor, my teacher,
Mm-hmm.
who passed away in December. His name is
Oh my
Tom
goodness.
Jacobs.
Yeah.
And most of the stuff that I do with Chiron comes from the way he does it.
Uh-huh. Okay.
And which is focus, because a lot of times people will focus out, call it the wounded healer,
Mm-hmm.
and that it's this wound that we hold on to
Yeah.
that we can never really heal, but we can help other people. And I
Mm.
look at it much more, it's the part of us that's different. It's not a wound per se, it's just this unique energy. It's our like our
Okay.
sensitivity antenna.
Mm.
So we're
Mm-hmm.
really extra sensitive to whatever it is.
Yeah.
Like we look at longer generations with this because it's a longer moving planet. And so I'm part
Mm.
of the Taurus Chiron generation. Taurus has to do, and just to use myself as an example,
Yeah.
Taurus has to do with rhythms and taking our time with things. So with my Chiron, I'm very sensitive to time. And so what happens is I'm afraid I'm going to be rejected
Mm.
for taking my time with something, so I rush things.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
So we end up doing whatever the opposite is to avoid rejection, but then we end up being rejected because we're not doing the
Not
thing.
putting it you're all into it.
You're not
Yeah.
putting your real self in it. You're editing
Yeah.
yourself in order to not be rejected. Like with this Taurus Chiron generation, so that's like 77 to like 83. I will say, if you think you're huge FOMO, right? So it's like if you think you have a day to decide something and you're feeling rushed, take a week.
Yeah.
And then what happens is by doing that, by taking a week, the people around you see you doing that. And then
Yeah.
you attract people who need to also take their time and they go, oh,
Mm.
if she can do it, I can do it. And then you stop identifying with it and then you move on. So it's like I said, it's one of my favorite things to work with.
Okay. Yeah.
And because it embodies so much of what's important to me is like what makes us different and not
Mm-hmm.
editing that stuff in our world. And so understanding it and like, Aries Chiron people, which is the generation before me. So like late
Okay.
60s, early 70s,
That would be
I'm
me.
always, yes, okay. So it's like, so your generation, it's about your inner toddler. It's
Mm.
like do ridiculous things and go like toddler energy is like, I really want to do this for 5 minutes and then I really want to do this. And then it's like, but you're not doing it. You're overthinking things
Ah.
because somebody told you that you're not allowed to do that. And then that energy keeps on getting re-wounded until
Mm-hmm.
you like really let that inner toddler like get excited about things and not worry about how it's going to affect
About the
other people,
outcome. Yeah.
about the outcome, just like or how long your attention span is going to last.
Yeah.
Like it's okay. Yes,
So you're
exactly.
giving me permission to start projects and not finish them?
Yes, I am. Because you got something out of it. Like, so once you're done with it, you're done with it. And
Yeah.
you did finish it. Let me rephrase that. Not to
Yeah.
start things and not finish them, but to be excited about something, get what you need out of it, and then move on.
Yeah. Yeah, I needed that today, so I feel better already. So thank you. Okay, so are you taking clients then in groups,
Um,
one-on-one, in person,
astrology,
virtually?
yeah,
Sorry,
yes, I do online, in person, I do everything.
all of it. Okay.
Yeah, I do all of it. With the astrology stuff, it's almost exclusively one-on-one, or like I said, a child or
And that makes
couples.
sense. Yeah.
More often, actually, privately, I get parent-child readings. I don't get a lot of couples. I work at the Arizona Biltmore Spa.
Okay.
And I do get couples there sometimes. I have a few clients that, but most of the time it's individuals and then, or like I said, parent-child
Yeah.
relationships.
Okay.
And then of course we didn't even talk about any of the aromatherapy stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But with that, I will do kind of small group meditations
Mm-hmm.
where we do the movement and we do the oils where it's much more about the physical. Sometimes
Yeah.
I will pair that with like mini readings where I'll like, I'll print
Yeah.
everybody's chart out and I'll be like, give one or
Oh,
two
how
minute like
nice.
kind of
Yeah.
thing.
Like a
But
bonus.
yes, oh, I love it. So I'm all about the integration. Like I love,
Yeah.
like I said at the beginning, it's the fluidity and like never one thing and not rigid boxes. Yeah, so I'll do that with the meditations. and the movement in smaller groups. And then, of course, I do the aromatherapy
Yeah.
immersive workshop, which
Mm.
I do have coming up in
Oh,
July
in
online.
July. Okay.
And so that kind of gets you into tuning into the voices of the plants and the trees
Oh, I
and
love
using
it.
them as guides. So kind of how the way I look at the two things is the astrology is our owner's manual,
Okay.
and then the essential oils are our like mixing board.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So, how to tune in one thing and bring in and what kind of energy we want to bring in. And all the oils I work with, it's a small company based out of Sedona, woman owned. I'm one of their teachers. I love it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I could do a whole thing just on that. But
Yeah.
in my history with those wonderful people, but it's wisdom of the earth. So the essential oils that I work with are the highest quality as far as like
Yeah.
physical and all of that. But because we're an energy focused company, we really focus on like this art of anointing. I mean, I can tell you what to use for breathing pains, all of the other things. And that's
Yeah.
another one of those things is people come to me with a physical issue and then we end up addressing emotional, spiritual issue.
Yeah.
And so it's about doing the ritual of pouring the oils in the hand and
Hmm.
say and anointing the body
Yeah.
with whatever energy that we're really tuned into because I am, it's again that Taurus energy, very sensual energy and doing it kind of in this different way. And I just love working with and I have all these cool kits where you
Yeah.
can where the rituals kind of built
Yeah.
into them.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And it's beautiful to watch too. So I should mention that you do have a lot of that on your YouTube channel. Please visit it because you can get a lot of information about exactly what Katie does and how she does it and what she works with.
Yeah, so I do a lot of work with Lilith and Mary Magdalene. Mary Magdalene is one of my guides.
Yeah.
Lilith is it's that's another one that I do so much on. I do specific workshops just on working with Lilith
Yeah.
and with Mary Magdalene. And they're so different. But I will call multidimensional beings is usually the
Okay.
word I
Okay.
use
Okay. Yeah.
because they're whatever it is, whether you're talking about fairies or angels or ancestors or
Yeah.
all of the whatever or ascended masters. But I don't, again, divine feminine energy. I don't
Hmm.
have a lot, even though I am a Virgo, when it comes to this energy work, I don't have a lot of use for labels. And
Yeah.
so it's just like whatever you call it is whatever you call it. Like
Right.
it's and the truth is the higher dimensional, multidimensional existence is something so beyond what our 3D minds can
Right.
comprehend. So
Absolutely.
it almost doesn't matter
Yeah.
what you call it.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of learning how to receive it.
Hmm.
And and I do a lot of work with that, and our bodies are the container. And and
Yeah.
again, that's why I love working with the essential oils because they go through that alchemic process of moving from plant to essentially spirits. That's why they call distillation spirits.
Mm.
And so we're working with, this physical thing that we can touch, that we can feel, that we can kind of get into, how the earth feels
Yeah.
and all of that, and touch and smell and taste. But it also connects us with our higher self because the more we're
Yeah.
connected with our body, that's the vessel that we receive the higher dimensional things.
Mm.
So a lot of
Hmm.
people get kind of caught up in the, channeling or again, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah. A
And they're
rose by another name, right? They
exactly.
smell just
And,
as sweet. Yeah.
and they forget to work on the body and
Hmm.
really you have to have the body open in order to receive. Otherwise it just gets stuck and I call them like people get dizzy and headaches and all sorts
Oh.
of things because it's getting stuck in the head. So
Hmm.
I'll tell people to put frankincense on their feet to bring that energy
Oh,
downward
nice. Yeah.
into the body. So, that's again part of why I love working with the anointing and the aromatherapy and the
Yeah.
approach I take to it.
Yeah. Yeah. So visit the YouTube channel and it's just her name. It's Katie Shell. So yeah, KATIESHELL. So visit that. And where is the best place for people to reach you? Would it be your website or any of your socials?
All of it are good. But if they want to reach out, email me like
Okay.
katieshell@gmail.com. Ask me a
Okay.
question. If you want to find out more about what I have to offer, like services wise, go to my website. If you just want to kind of get a flavor of what
Mm-hmm.
I'm doing out there, go to my Instagram or go to my
Mm-hmm.
Facebook. Yeah. But if you want to like ask me a question, email
Mm-hmm.
me for sure.
Just to contact you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And all of that is your name. So Katie Shell.
Yes.
And let's see, the Instagram is Katie Shell Essential Journeying.
Journeying. Yes.
Journeying. We'll have all of that in the description. So
Okay.
everybody, please look at the description. I know a lot of people pass that up, but please look at it. And then, so the Facebook is the same thing, of course, but it's not like in Instagram, it's all like all one, but in Facebook, it's Katie Shell Essential Journeying. So yeah, okay.
Yes.
I have little notes here. I'm looking
Thank
down at
you.
what I wrote. So yeah, all the information will be below. So is there anything else that you would like people to know or, or anything else you'd like to share before we end this today?
I feel good about this. I mean,
Good.
this was a great conversation. I feel like we got a lot of good stuff out there. Like I
Yeah,
said, I could talk about so many of these subjects all day long.
right.
But I guess one thing is like I meet people where they are. I kind of don't sugarcoat things.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't get into a lot of what I call like the kind of pop astrology or
Yeah.
new ageism or like, yeah, I've got my crystals and, I do
Mm-hmm.
all of that stuff, but like none of that is important. Like what's important is what you need
Mm-hmm.
and wherever you are. You don't have to be into this stuff. You don't have to be into witchy stuff. You
Right.
totally a witchy person, but I'm not like witch groups. I don't like it's not like, oh, you need to do these 10 things on the full moon and did.
Right,
Like,
right.
no, it's about tuning into your own rhythms and tuning into the rhythms of the earth and the cosmos and bringing those out. And we can do that from anywhere in
Yeah.
any way. And there's no wrong way to be. So I'm not going to be
Yeah.
like, oh, you have to eat this certain way or you have to do this certain thing. Like
Right.
it's about figuring out what your own needs are.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. It's
yeah.
all very personal to each
Yes.
person. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for sharing everything
Thank you so
today.
much.
And I feel like, I agree with you. We got a lot out in a short amount of time. I've learned today, and I hope that anybody listening or watching has learned. If you are watching this on YouTube, Holistic Connections, Conversations with Holistic Practitioners is also available on podcast platforms. And if you're listening on one of those podcast platforms, you can watch us on YouTube. And it's my name, though. The YouTube channel is Pamela Topjian, Topjian. And Holistic Connections is a playlist on that channel. So maybe we should have you on again to talk, like, focus in on like the aromatherapy or focus in on something that we didn't, quite get to delve deeper in.
I
Have you
would
on
love
again?
to do that for sure. Thank
Yeah,
you.
yeah. All right. Well, thanks so much.
Thank you so much for having me. I loved it.
Absolutely. Me too.